New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment. Inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, and welcome to Rockin The Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil. And this is Rockin The Love, as Robyn just said. And we're excited to have you here on a Wednesday afternoon or morning or night, wherever you are. But we are coming to you from the lovely studios in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Mountain Time, 1 p.m. What else can we tell them?
I don't know.
Have I gotten through the list of things?
No.
Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to look for ways to say yay, because all of it helps us get the word out a little easier.
So today we are celebrating that it is.
Pardon me.
That it is February. Can you believe that it's February? It happened so quick.
It happened very quick. It's February of 2026. We are already into the second quarter of this century. Oh my gosh. Who would have thought?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that just blew my mathematical mind. I had to. Who knew you were going to say that? That was a lot of calculating there. Anyway, it is definitely a good time to be alive. So, today we are talking about forgotten love. That is our topic. With this February theme of love, we're going to explore love in all different ways. And so today we're going to talk about forgotten love. So am I
supposed to talk about my girlfriend from high school?
You can. That's what comes up for you. That was not exactly the point, but talk.
Oh, we had a different point in mind? Okay.
Okay.
We'll get there.
We may not, but okay. So before we do that, let's go. Let's talk about our week.
Let's talk about the week. The week, I don't know what to talk about weeks these days. Weeks happen. And there's always exciting things and not exciting things and places to hang out with people and times to just be at home. And I think the most exciting thing this last week was that we went on a date night last Wednesday after the show.
Oh, we did.
And that was very fun.
That was fun.
And we're lined up to do it again tonight.
We have committed to date nights. So yes, Wednesdays are our date nights. So we will follow that up after our show and be rocking the love. Just so y'all know, you can send us good vibes. Yeah, so it was a good week. I think, actually, I don't feel like January went slowly. I mean, quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seemed like relatively normal in a way. Usually it does seem fast because for me, usually January, February, March seem fast because there's short months and there's birthdays and there's all kinds of things like that. So usually it just zips by. But it felt, everything just feels like there's a lot going on and a lot of in motion. And it almost feels like, I don't know, that's what's being called forth in the world is more clarity about what you're doing and if that's really what you want to be doing, and where's, what's yours to do, where do you want to play, all those kind of things. So it's been that kind of week and just trying to keep up with it all. I think moving from anywhere, moving from a house or moving to a new location, your move at the center is monumental. It's like it's all consuming.
It's all consuming.
So that's kind of like the thing that's always in the forefront. So it's been that kind of a week, and I'm just, once again, a balance, trying to find the balance of being able to support, be present, do whatever I need to do whatever needs to be done, all those things. So, but it was a good week. I mean, all in all, it's a good week if you don't listen to the news or anything. But in my world, it was a good week.
Yeah, even some of the stuff on the news is interesting to see some of the cracks in the armor that are happening, and trusting that those cracks will eventually become what shifts.
I do.
We've just had a lot of opportunities to be with different people this week, and we have things coming up next week, and I'm just overall, it doesn't feel. I'm learning to not make it so compact, even though there's so much to do. I'm really working on focusing to do things, to not make myself feel like I have to do everything.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
That's a good goal.
I can do what I can do, and I can do what I do well, and stick with that.
That's a good goal. I mean, it sounds like, I don't know, but I'm just going to say it sounds like you're like in, a different phase of senior ministership, and that's a good thing, because I mean, I think especially you being one that likes creating team and team leadership, it opens up the space for more of that to happen.
More. Yes.
More.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, speaking of more, it's time for the good news, because this is what we want to hear nowadays, is the good news and all the wonderful people out there doing wonderful things. So let's start with your wonderful news story.
All right. So, found a news story about Guatemala, and they have recently shut down a 7,000 acre drilling site, basically, that they had leased out for drilling for oil, and they have moved it into a preserve that is in there to protect jaguars and macaws. And this is all part of what they call the Mayan biosphere. And there's actually this area. This is a 7,000 acre chunk, but there's 800 and some thousand acres involved, and it covers 3 different countries. It's Guatemala, Mexico, and the neighboring country that I can't think of in this moment. But it covers multiple countries coordinating together to create a real space of preserving and enhancing the wildlife. And I think it's pretty cool. And, there's obviously the naysayers that say that, it's just a political move and all of that. But also, this was one of the things that the government said they were going to do this time around, that when they got into power, that's what they would do, and they have done it. And, they determined at some point that although it had been giving money to the bottom line, helping the GDP and all of that, that it became an issue with pollution. It became an issue with various other people being able to get into the area, and other nefarious things happening. And so the cost became much higher than what they were receiving from it. And they were able to make that decision.
That's great. That's amazing. And political or not, it's just great that it's happening.
Right.
Well, my story, I thought I would go with love, focusing on the love this time. And this is about a hockey team in Pennsylvania. And since for about a quarter of a century, the Hershey Bears, which is a minor league team, have been having this event once a year where there's a game where after the first goal, everyone throws their stuffed animals out onto the ice rink, and they collect them, and they go to places, they donate them to kids that don't have them, and to hospitals and all of that. And they just rain down from all over the stadium and onto the ice, and the play stops, and they collect them all, and then they later donate them throughout Pennsylvania. And so it's really a great thing. And sometimes it takes like almost an hour to clean the ice for the rest of the game. But the Hershey Bears have set the world record for collecting the most animals during their teddy bear toss in one game of 102,343 animals. And over the years, the Bear Toss has provided 650,000 stuffed animals to less fortunate kids and family. And so I just think that's so great. And then one local teen made it her mission. She was so moved by it and so excited by it that she created a foundation called Gabby's Acts of Kindness. Her name is Gabby. And to solicit donations for the Bears and for her favorite team. And so every year she does that. And she's just, she says that every day when she wakes up, she thinks about it. And she says, she says, throw kindness around like confetti, because you never know what a person's going through. Do something good and you'll get it back. And so it just reminded me of this month of love, actually being the love out in the world. So thank you, Gabby. Thank you to all the people who donate and do those kind things.
Thank you to the Hershey Bears.
Thank you to the Hershey
and
Bears.
To all those people that sweep up all of those animals after the first goal.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And thank you to our viewer, Myrna Lopez Trevithek. Hello,
Hola.
welcome, hola, bienvenidos. So glad to have you here for a few minutes. Myrna is an amazing practitioner and forceful power for good in the world, doing all kinds of great things, including homeschooling her son, which is a full-time job. So,
and offering leadership to a center in Mexico.
And offering leadership to a center in Mexico. And working through the foundation, the Ernest Holmes Foundation. And she is my comadre, and I'm glad to see her here, even if it's only for a minute. So thank you, Myrna, for joining us. All right. So we're going to move on. And when we come back, we're going to talk about forgotten love. And I'd love it if you were here, Myrna, because we're going to talk about things that we just don't do anymore, that maybe was something that we really loved at one time. And where has that gone, and why and how, and what did it give us, and what can it give us again? And who knows where we'll go? Hey, Shay. Shay's here too. And she's texting in the right place so we can say hello. Hello. Hello to everybody. And hello to everybody who's not texting. If you want to text, please put your text in the box and chat with us, and just let us know where you're tuning in from. And think about this on the commercial break. What have you let go of that you used to do or that you loved? Right?
Yeah, made time for in your life, whatever.
Yeah.
That maybe somehow you've allowed to fall away.
Yeah. So just think about that. And we'll be right back here in just a moment on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network proudly presents the Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back to Rockin The Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil. And we're happy to be here with you today as we are each and every Wednesday. So thank you for joining us. We are talking today about forgotten love.
Forgotten love. And I'm going to start us out with a quote. The things we once loved never disappear. They wait patiently for us to remember who we were when we loved them.
That's an interesting concept.
Right? Right? And it is an interesting concept. And I just would say that today we're really exploring like the terrain of forgotten love, the passions, the practices, and the pieces of ourselves that once lit us up and just somehow have slipped out of our hands as life grew louder. And they're not abandoned dreams or failures, but they're really breadcrumbs and clues and invitations for us to come back to the parts of us that knew joy without permission. So we're going to turn them to them with our curiosity and compassion and maybe even a little courage and see what's ready to reveal. And I think Shay really started us out with courage by letting us know, where did it go? Up here. She said, well, I didn't let go of it. I just couldn't do it because of physical, mental, and emotional limitations. It's on my vision board this year to get back to figure skating, skiing, and dance. That's a great realization.
That's three pretty big things.
That's pretty huge.
Pretty big physical things. I think a lot of, I personally think a lot of what gets let go is physical activities for many of us.
Yeah, and Shay, it sounds like you are in touch and tune and ready to start that. She says, I've started dancing lessons. I have it in my budget to purchase new figure skates, and she's gotten a gym membership. So that's amazing. And that's great. And I think that's definitely one for me, because that's a conscious, like, physically, I can't do it. And I'm going back to it. Right. And I think there's other things that have just slipped away and slipped out of our realm of being. Like, the thing that comes up for me the most is actually mostly for you, but for me too. Well, no, but it's just the place that music held and holds in our life. And like, I don't know, like decades ago, like you came home and turned on your stereo, or you did something like that. And it's not that it's any harder now. It's all on your phone or whatever, but it's like, I don't listen to music and use music in the same way that I once did.
Well, in some ways, it's weirder the way music is now, because it's harder to get. It feels harder to get to what you want. I'm not sure that's true, but sometimes you can't just go, I want to turn on so and so's album, or I want to put in 5 discs into the changer, and I want to listen to whatever comes up off those 5. Those are whatever. Plus, I don't even set up that stuff in this house because it's not as important in terms of requirements. Like you say, we have it in the car, we have it on our phones, we have it in all those places. But then it's not as great a sound, so you don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting.
It's like, I don't want to listen to that sounding crappy. So
Myrna is sharing that she liked what Shay shared, that she was just thinking about one thing she loves dancing as well. And after many, many years, she went out dancing last weekend, and her body recognized the steps. She felt free and lighter and very happy.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations. It was Myrna's birthday, so she was out celebrating. Happy birthday to Myrna. And happy birthday to Tracy Brown today. Today's Tracy Brown birthday, who she has a show right here on New Thought Media Network.
Wow.
So, yes. I mean, I think that's interesting. So both of you have Myrna went out dancing and remembered. Shay, you sound like you consciously made choices. And us, we're just talking about things. I don't know that we're getting changed.
We're sitting right here. That's what we're doing.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I think all of it is, becoming aware, and also it's finding the balance in one's life, because any of the things that we talk about that we may have loved at one time that we have let go of, either they no longer serve us, so it's not important, or they really are important still to us, but we don't know how to fit them into our lives in the same way. It feels like there's not space.
Right.
It feels like I don't have time. I don't feel up to it by the time I get to it because I'm too tired. Whatever that thing is, those things.
Well, yeah, and generally there's a reason. Like Shay had a physical reason. Myrna, I'm gonna project, but you get involved in your new relationships, and then you have kids, and things take priority. So we all have let go of things when other things take priority. And what's interesting, like I've been doing the Artist Way with a friend, and I got to some page where you had to write out like 100 things that you love doing, and I was like, 100, and I was like, that's ridiculous. And then I was like, okay, no, this is ridiculous. The 100 didn't even matter, because I was having a hard time writing down 5, and remembering. And so, yeah, I think that's really important. Like, we let go of things. And yet I know, like, even when I think about, most of my things that I've let go of are creative. So like you all said, like dancing and singing and moving and painting and creating. And like sometimes when I think about those things, I'm actually more terrified to do them than to not do them.
Because I think it's been there comes a period of time, and then we feel like we don't really know how to do them anymore. Kind of like Myrna pointed out, her body remembered the steps, and that was good. And sometimes, until we get there, we don't realize that we still remember the steps to whatever it is we're trying to do. And we'll have there'll be a sort of a wall there of I don't know and that kind of a thing.
Right. And and all of these things too, I think they symbolize. There's different symbols and meaning behind them. And like for example, I was reading like dancing represents freedom and embodiment. And so looking within to see like maybe where you're not feeling that or where you want to, or focusing on wanting to express more of that. Like when you go out dancing and you open up, what does that open up for you? Does that open up other creative venues or other, lines of something?
Well, I think the reality is that many of those things that we love that we don't do ultimately will give us energy. When we sit and listen to music that we really like, or we play it in the background while we're doing something else, it adds energy. When we go out dancing, when I go riding on my bike, when we pick up the guitar, anything that we want to do or that we have a call to do and be about, that will tend to energize us rather than deplete us, which really means that it stretches time. Because now we have more to give to the rest of the things that we think we have to have done, that we are trying to balance. The things we're trying to accomplish in areas that are not necessarily just for our own entertainment, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it also, I think sometimes it also plays a part into like our identity, and who we are and who we've been. And like I know for me that as a creative person, there are times when I feel like I'm lying. Like when someone says to me, well, what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm an actress and a writer and a this and a that and whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, I haven't really written in a long time. I haven't really done that. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it challenges our identity. And I think also sometimes it brings, like going out dancing and going back to figure skating and dancing and moving like that. Like also, what does that bring? What part of your life was that? And how does that bring it back alive? And how do you, who were you at that time? And how does it, you identify, you know what I mean? Like it helps you reimagine or recreate or reconnect with with all of that.
Well, yes, and sometimes that's exactly why we're afraid to go there, is because of whatever the memory is of what that time period is about. There may be other things we've lost during that time period or something which now makes it a little bit scary to go there. I think the other thing is, hopefully, if we continue to grow as a person, as a people, as we grow, we don't really want to go back to who we were at whatever time we were doing certain things. We want to allow those things to engage us and grow us forward, but we don't want to go back to what it was before. That's a thought I have.
It's an interesting thought, and I agree with you. However, there is the magic of going back 10 or 20 years and just how you felt then. On some level, like, anything. I mean, on some level, certain things were, it was a more innocent, fun, joyous time where you could just go dance. You could just go do those things. And not that you can't now, but we've created whatever in our minds that hold us back from being able to live into that. So I guess that, yeah, Myrna's saying freedom, energy, release, vitality, being alive. Yeah. Somehow it's a reconnection, right? With a different part of yourself.
Yeah, I think perhaps it's that connection. If as it hopefully as it connects us to the positive aspects of whatever was happening there, and allows us to bring that into our lives, to enjoy that, and I think it appears that we forget it, and I think at some level we push it out of our minds because we don't have the time. We don't have the required equipment. We don't have whatever it is. That's not who we are anymore. We're not 20 anymore, whatever the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of push it aside, which doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. It doesn't mean that something we love doesn't feed us and allow us to grow where we are.
Yeah, and I think, just looking at those activities, it's like, how do we really embody them and go, well, what is this telling me? What is this saying to me? What is it showing me? What am I no longer able to express that is coming through this way, right?
So I think Shay said something interesting back there. Up there. For me, it's a step-by-step process. I can't just jump in and go skiing. I need to go to the gym a bunch before I can go skiing or skating. I was able to go dancing, though. Guitar's on the list. Well, but you know what? That's two-sided, and I hear you, Shay, and I think you're right to some degree. We do have to get ourselves into the space of whatever it was. If it's playing music for our friends on our guitar, for instance, then we might have to practice our chords and stuff if we haven't played in 20 years.
But is that true?
Well, I don't know if it's true.
I mean, I think it's a both and, right? I
Right.
mean, and I think that's what holds us back sometimes, is that we think we have to do it a certain way. Like, oh yeah, I'd really like to paint. Oh, I can't paint now. I haven't painted in years. I'd have to do this, that, and the other thing. And I should really take a class because we can talk. I think we're masters at being able to talk ourselves out of things as well.
Right. And that's what I think, and Shay's talking about I have to go to the gym a bunch of times. And no, you may need to make sure that your body, isn't completely limp, if you will, if you're going to go do something active like that. But also, if you don't decide that you're going to go down the Black Diamond run on your skis, you may be able to do some skiing without a whole lot of upfront stuff, which will allow you to get into the process, which will motivate you to do more of the other stuff, to be ready to do more of the skiing. That kind of idea. It's multi-layered, and it works together. And I think, yes, we can use what we need to do to be able to do something we have loved to do in the past. We can make excuses to keep ourselves from doing it.
We can.
You need this much time to start it up. You need this much to, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah. I think Shay brings up another good point. She said, I also had to grieve the process of loss. And yes, I think this is very important and a whole nother component to what we're talking about, because sometimes you don't even know what you've lost, and we can't always grieve it. I mean, you sound, Shay, like you were very aware of what you couldn't do and that you wanted to return to it. And Yeah. Okay, so she says, Gil is right as usual. Oh my God, I feel personally attacked.
No, not meant to be personal at all. I was just commenting on how easy it is for us to stop ourselves. You know, it's not about anything else. It's just about being aware of ourselves and how much are we putting in our own way rather than how much are we putting out to support ourselves and getting where we want to go. You know, that's all.
Yeah, so I think that I think that there's so it's so involved because sometimes we really don't know that we've let go of something. I'm going to share another quote with you. Sometimes the things we stopped doing didn't leave us, we left ourselves. You know, and I think that that's important because you know we give up on things, not always, but I'll speak for myself. You know, I when it's not looking the way I want or something like that, I can let go of the idea or the dream, so to speak.
Well, I think, you know, what's coming to my mind is, you know, how many different things I have adopted over the years to do to support myself that I then let go of. You know, like I remember leaving my job, going to lunch, and sitting and spending half my lunchtime basically in meditation, you know, and just being quiet and away from everything. And that was really supportive to me. How does that fit now? How do I bring that into my life now? You know, I think our spiritual practices, our physical activities, our creativity, I think all of those different aspects are things that we love because they so engage us and support us. And at the same time, they're so easy to be left along the side because of whatever it is. The time, I don't want to get up. I don't want to, you know, go out in the cold. I don't want, whatever the heck the excuse is.
Yeah,
You know?
I think there's a lot of excuses like that and a lot of barriers that make us stop doing things. And whether it's time is probably one of the biggest, but scarcity of time. And then there's also, you know, whatever ideas, trauma, heartbreak we have associated with that. Oh, I always used to go for a walk on the beach with so and so, and now I'm not with so and so, or whatever it is, you know, and letting that go based on, you know, what's going on now. And, you know, I don't know, just different things, cultural conditioning. Oh, adults don't do that. We don't do that anymore. You know, and like you have an excuse when you have kids, you know, because then you can go and be wacky and crazy and do, you know, jump on the trampoline and do all those things, you know. And, you know, as we get older, we go, yeah, no, adults don't do that. I'm not doing that anymore, kind of thing.
Right. It makes me think at the time when my kids were little and it was a real rainy day. It became a rainy day and we all got in the car and we drove over to the park and we all went out and played in the rain. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and they had a blast and I had a blast and everybody was wet and it was fine.
Yeah.
You know? But it was, you know, creating something together as a family. It was play. It was, you know, some of the things we're talking about here are kind of like specific, but I think there's a lot of more things that are more general categories like play, just in general.
Right.
You know, where do we play? Where do we allow ourselves to be silly with our loved ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we do that?
But I mean, but it's so true because it's like the times when I'm like walking out of the house with no jacket or whatever, and the same thing, it's basically the park thing. Like I'm ready to go jump in mud puddles. And you're like, what? You know, and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, adults don't do that. Okay, all right. No, but it's
But I
true.
don't want you to get cold, my love.
All right, okay. So Shay says, I love Lee Harris. This year, he said, is the year of letting go of self-abandonment.
There you go. Wow, that's a deep one.
Yeah,
Letting go of self-abandonment.
yeah.
Well, that's a what do you call that? Sort of like an oxymoron, but not. That's not what I mean. Anyway, it's a double negative. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Shay says it also depends on where you are in general in your life. It's kind of hard to think about skating or skiing when you're just hanging on by your fingernails trying to survive.
That is so true, and I think some of that is, we're in places in our lives where our finances, where our jobs, where our, we're in school, whatever it is, and we feel like that's all I can do. And I think sometimes that is, again, another, it's an opportunity for us to look at it and go, is that really true? Is this really all, do I have to be so concerned about this? Can I trust that it's okay moving forward, to some degree? I realize, Shay, you're absolutely right, but I'm just saying I think there's other times where I think all of these things you can fall into the extreme side, or the side where we use it as an excuse to some degree instead of breaking through what we need to break through, and I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and I think that there's also there's balance, I mean, yes, you're talking about logical things and but there's also, like, I know when I was 20 or 25 years old, because my priorities were different, I made different things happen.
Right.
Like, oh no, don't talk to me about not having a vacation 3 times a year when I was 25. No, I'm serious. And people would be like, I don't know how you do it. It didn't matter how I did it. I was going to do it. You know what I mean? And I knew at that time what it was giving me, like that sense of freedom, that sense of fun, that sense of relaxing. Now I go, oh, can't do it. There's not this, there's not that. It's not adding up. You know what I mean? So, like, we abandon ourselves, as Shay said, and we abandon our priorities. We really let go of our priorities because, many people would tell me that that was frivolous and I was spoiled and la 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 la. I wasn't spoiled. I was paying for them. I just had to figure out how to work hard enough to get them, and I knew what I needed. And so, like, there's that abandonment.
Yeah. And perhaps we could go on more vacations now if you've been putting that money towards retirement. I'm just saying, but I'm saying that in jest, but I'm also saying there's that difference in the way people view things. And so, sometimes people will prioritize the what's coming later stuff and deny themselves of what is now possible, which is okay to a certain degree. But if that's all you do, then you're going to miss out on life.
Am I?
You're going to miss out on life if you're putting everything off until later,
right,
and not taking advantage of what's possible now. At the same time, there may be some payoffs to putting some of it off till later. So everybody obviously is going to walk through this differently, but it's a matter of being aware. You are aware. I need a vacation. That's what I do, and I'm going to have fun, and I'm not going to let anything get in my way. You're not. You don't have any issue with being concerned about money, etc. in general.
Right.
Because you just believe that it's going to show up every moment.
Right.
And scarily enough, it usually does.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but again, that's a whole different mindset. So, but the question is, if you're listening and you've identified something in your life that you've let go of, how would it serve you to bring it back? Something that you want to bring back in, like some habit, some creative endeavor, or something you've let go of that just bring that small piece of joy, of love, of connection back into your life. What would that look like? And what is there, like a doable version, a small thing you can do this week to redo that? And, as Shay pointed out, she's on the path to skiing and dancing and skating and all of that. And, maybe she's not ready to do all that right now, but maybe the small thing is, I don't know, she can watch skating videos and just find that, that joy in the beauty of what she's watching. So where can we make those tiny steps? What are we willing to commit to bring back? Because I'm telling you, that's no joke. I mean, I've been doing the Artist Way for 5 weeks, not my first time at this rodeo. I've done it. I know what's coming. All of that. And to get back to those places of really doing an artist date with myself, or really taking a moment, again, like to figure out what that even is anymore, because I think, oh yeah, I should spend the day at the museum. And then I'm like, I don't really want to do that, and then I think, oh, I could go to lunch with myself. I'm like, that's not really a big stretch.
And not really all that fun sometimes.
Well, but it's just not. It's not yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, what is that thing that we can identify that will bring us joy, and a small step? I mean, and maybe it's coloring on a piece of paper. I get very happy when I color on a coloring book. What is the small micro movement or whatever that we can really put into action? You have a thought?
Well, my thought is that for me, what I tend to do is, in some ways, one of my gifts is big picture. But in other ways, if I'm looking at something, then I will go to big picture, which is how it should just look in 5 years or whatever. What could this become? And then I struggle with, how do I do what I can do now and allow that to be a part of getting to here? Instead, I want to be here. I want to jump over, and I want to magically be in a position where I have the time, I'm capable, and I have the resources and everything to do whatever it is I want to do, which is probably part of why I've never gotten my guitar off the ground, because I play with it for a minute and then I'm frustrated and bored. I mean, I can't
Even
do
though I got
anything.
you guitar lessons.
Yeah, I
You
can't.
never finished them.
I can't do. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that. I could
Well-
probably call him up and do them on the phone. But it is that thing, where I don't want to. Investing the time feels like it's not doing anything, and I think, where Shay was coming from was, I'm going to the gym, and I know that's part of my skating, that's part of my skiing, and so she can see how investing the time in this step is part of the process.
Well, and Shay is reclaiming health and wholeness in Shay's way.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, I got to do this to get to skiing. It's part of the journey, which
Right.
which makes a difference. And so I think that, I just think we forget. We forget about the simple joys. I mean, it could be as simple as going out and getting an ice cream cone. Like, what would that really feel like if you intentionally went, I'm going to treat myself to an ice cream cone today? Because I don't know, I'm just making it up. But a lot of times, like, if we have a dessert or go do that, it's like part of another thing. And we are like, you know what I mean? It's not intentional.
Right.
And,
We don't
you
get in
know-
the car and go to 31 flavors to get ice cream.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And if that brought us joy as a kid or whatever, what would that feel like? If we really just went out and went, all right, let's go for ice cream, or whatever. But I mean, I think that the thing is, if you have something in mind, what is the tiniest doable thing of that passion that you could try this week? What could you do? If it's cooking or if it's, whatever it is, just really taking that into your world. And then what stops you from reclaiming that? Like, what is it telling you? What is it really telling you? Like, if it was a message from your soul, from your heart, what would it be saying to you? And what does that activity allow you to feel or think or express or be?
Well, I think, what what would it be like to simply frivolously decide you were going to do something that you felt like was fun in the moment? It's sort of that stopping the car to take a picture. Well,
Right.
I don't have time. We're on our way or whatever. I had one of my family vacations that was so much fun because we didn't do the whole vacation as planned, because we got somewhere and liked it, and we decided to stay for an extra couple days, and then we did some this and then some, but there was flexibility in what is it that looks like it's going to be something for us right now, what's in front of us right now.
Right.
And it's we can go to I don't know, well, going with the fun ministry on Sunday.
Right.
Playing cards.
Yeah,
with
playing
people,
games, playing cards, connecting.
just
with
having a
people,
good time.
calling an old friend and just going for a walk, hanging out in the park, whatever that is. I mean, there's so many ways, and we'd love it if you tell us next week what you did, if anything, and what those ways are. And yeah.
And you don't have to make a plan for the rest of the year. Just pick something and take a step toward it. If it's a bigger thing, take the step. If it's just a thing in the moment, just do it and tell us what it was like.
Yeah, so this is our segment, our show on Forgotten Love. And so it's really about reclaiming that piece of yourself, that former passion, and just allowing it to inform you. And so I leave us with this thought. We don't lose passions, we lose permission.
Wow.
So, and I saw that our producer put some information in the chat of a good place to look. There you go. Great lessons on Masora.com. So check that out. And yeah, you can't rock the love if you can't live into it. So live into the love this week, this month, forever. But we're just going to call it February. And really, we'll be here next week, and we'll talk a little bit more, I think, about relationships next week.
Love and relationships, and perhaps some of the ways we forget how to love in relationships, that kind of thing.
Yes. But right now, just focus on loving yourself.
Because you can't love anyone else unless you love yourself. And that's
right.
Absolutely true. I think that's the biggest scripture people screw up, and that is love your brother as yourself. We can't love another as ourselves in a great way if we don't love ourselves in the great way in the first place. So there you go. That's
love yourself.
Sermon for the day.
Whether it's in the gym, on the ice, at the drawing board, at Starbucks, wherever you are, whatever you see yourself doing, live into the love. Because that's what it's all about. And keep on rocking the love, everybody. And we will see you next week. Thank you. We love you, Shay. We love everybody.
Bye.